Welcome to TEPSA Talk, the podcast where leaders inspire, share, and grow together. TEPSA is dedicated to celebrating the incredible work happening in education. Each episode, we dive into meaningful conversations with leaders, change-makers, and innovators who are shaping the future of our schools. Whether you're looking for fresh ideas, encouragement, or a little spark to fuel your passion, TEPSA Talk is here for you. Imagine tuning in to hear how leaders are revolutionizing their schools, tackling challenges head-on, and fostering a culture of collaboration. Grab a coffee, hit play, and let's grow together. Welcome to TEPSA Talk.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to an all-new episode of the TEPSA Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Todd Nesloney, the Director of Culture and Strategic Leadership here at the Texas Elementary Principals and Supervisors Association. We are thrilled to bring you different thought leaders from around the world every week, and I am so excited not only about today's topic, but about our special guest this week because he brings so much knowledge and excitement and experience to this. So, Andre, welcome to the show. Kind of introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Todd. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm currently serving in South Louisiana as an assistant administrator, primarily in charge of school-wide discipline, mentoring teachers, getting in the trenches with them and coaching them up. And I'm just enjoying the ride. It's such a really honorable experience to have on a day-to-day basis.
Well, hey, I am so excited to talk about today's conversation because today we're going to be talking about relationships, discipline, connecting with kids who may bring a little more stuff to the table. And it's something that I know no matter what role you're in right now in education, it's something you're dealing with because we're just seeing it more and more all the time. And so this is something that you're really passionate about as well, and that you actually do speaking over and all kinds of things. When did this particular topic of just really connecting with kids and helping them regulate their emotions, when did that become something that you were like, I really have a knack for this?
Yeah, great question. So I started this current role probably 4 years ago, and I just stepped out of an instructional coach role for the district, and I was invited to be an assistant principal behavior interventionist at an elementary campus. Now, the majority of my experience comes from middle school. So when I got to this elementary campus, I realized very quickly that I was not equipped with a skill set that was going to make me effective in not only supporting students, but staff. So I quickly realized I need to understand what's happening under the hood of behavior. Because if we know a little about behavior, it is communication. In fact, I think behavior is biology. And it's a biology that's always communicating needs. And if we can sort of see through that lens of what is this child's behavior really communicating, what is the unmet need? How can we get under the surface and best support that student? And so it's been a journey these last several years of really trying to polish up and continuously get better at supporting students that might be in a dysregulated state, as well as supporting the adults. Because if we know anything about discipline, and this might be a little prickly to start us off, but discipline has almost nothing to do with the actual kid, right? And almost everything to do with the adult. And that is a very important concept to break down because as an administrator that's leading school discipline, I like to approach it in two parts. One part is really equipping and empowering the teacher with actionable, practical, effective skills to sort of mitigate and navigate student behavior in the classroom. So that's part one, and really being there shoulder to shoulder and coaching them through that. But the part two that I think is really, really important right now is making sure that our teachers don't feel alone when they are facing challenging behaviors. You can be empowered, you can be equipped, but we know that even with the most informed tier 1 positive, proactive, preventative behavior support systems in schools, in classrooms, we still get kids that show up and struggle. And so in those moments, we want to be there right beside our teachers, best supporting them so that they don't feel alone in that process. And I think that's really been the success of what we're doing here at my campus is showing up for teachers. And what that looks like on a day-to-day basis, as soon as I'm done with breakfast cafeteria duty, I am walking into every teacher's classroom and I'm asking them, how are you today? Is there anything I can do for you right now? Are there any student leaders that I need to support right now? And I always end with, if there's anything that comes up, let us know. Now, I try to make that classroom visit multiple times throughout the day. And I will tell you, Todd, if I'm doing this after lunch, they're taking me up on my offer. They're telling me, hey, I need you to help me settle this second grade math class. Jump in here. And that's exactly what we do. And I think when they feel that level of close up support, we're there shoulder to shoulder in the trenches, that's what helps us do this sometimes very tough work.
There's so much goodness in that answer, because I think that's one of the things that we miss sometimes as administrators is we view ourselves as the last resort, and that send them to us and we'll handle them. And there's so many layers to discipline that I think often in the social media world, discipline becomes very sound bites of, oh, if you were just doing this, all your discipline problems will go away. Oh, if you were just doing this. And the reality is, well, if the teacher's the problem and is leading to the kid's behavior, I need to do this. But if the kid has done this, I may need to do this, or I may need to jump in here. And just that act of being available, like you said, I think is such a great starting point for administrators who may be listening today thinking, look, the discipline is just so much on our campus, I don't even know where to begin. My head goes, well, just be visible. Just be out there so that you can see stuff coming, you can make connections, but also when that teacher needs a break, they know you're available to either step in the room or pull the kid out or whatever needs to happen. Now, would you agree, or do you have some other advice for people who are like, I don't even know where to begin, Todd, it's just so out of control?
Yeah, you touched on something that's, I think, super critical, and it's the presence of the building admin, making sure that you're visible, that you're going into those classrooms, offering to roll up the sleeves and jump in there if you see a teacher that needs that extra support. And I think it's also important that we normalize just how difficult some of these behavioral episodes can be, and giving our teachers an opportunity to fold, to tap out, to say, look, I just need to step away. And in my trainings, I like to equip teachers with this. It's called strategic retreat. And it's 3 lines to tell the student when you feel like you have absolutely zero patience left, it has packed a bag and it has left the building. Go with these 3 lines, strategic retreat. Tell that student, I feel myself getting upset. You deserve the best from me, and we'll talk about this later. And then call for admin support. Let us get in there before things escalate. And so if we unpack those lines, they're super powerful. They're essentially giving the adult a way to model explicitly emotional regulation. It's identifying to the student, I'm upset right now. I need you to see that I am upset, but watch what happens next. Watch my response to my upset. And no matter what, no matter how upset I get, you still deserve the best from me. And that's a huge lesson to give to our students, that no matter how upset we become, we're going to maintain this sense of integrity and respect level. And the last thing is, we'll talk about this later. It's not if we're going to talk about it and address it, it's all about when. It's all about that timing. And I like to also add this. I think that is way more impactful in terms of helping our students navigate social, emotional, everything really, more so than an assembly, a curriculum that might teach character ed, a cool chant poster in the hallway. It's how adults show up to these tough behaviors that I think is the greatest lesson.
Well, it's just, even hearing you say it, I can just imagine not being a kid, but being an adult in that situation, to have somebody say, you know what, I'm getting kind of worked up right now, and like, I want to give you the best, but I can't in this moment, so let's do this a little bit later. That's powerful. And imagine a child hearing an adult say that. I mean, that's some really great modeling, but it also lets them feel like they matter in that moment, even though the emotions are heightened. But I think what you said that really resonated me with the most there from an administrator perspective is giving teachers the permission and practice to do that. And I think we really, and I'll speak for myself, I didn't do that enough as a school administrator. And hearing you say that now, I'm like, God, I wish I had heard that statement right there so that I could really work with my people to say, I want to empower you to do this because it leads to this, this, and this. Instead of saying, you got to nip it in the bud now, instructions happening, like whatever you're saying to the people, I think that's powerful to give them that freedom and that permission.
Yeah, and I'll just add on to that. So our system at our school is, and we tell our teachers, use this. When you feel like you need to step away, get some fresh air, go get a sip of water, freshen up your coffee, buzz the office and say code yellow. That is the cue to all of the admin staff that this teacher just needs a moment to step out. And so that's how we make this an actionable practice at our school. And believe me, in the springtime, we're getting some code yellows.
I believe it. Well, I'm thinking through this and I'm thinking, okay, what about the administrator who may be listening to this conversation today and thinking, we got some pretty good things going. We're working here and there. We have issues that arise, but I still want to take it to the next level. Like, I really want to make sure that, it's not out of control. The kids aren't running the school, but I just think we could do better. How do they really work on identifying what areas they could change or adapt to really just take it up a notch?
Yeah, great question. And I would say it might start with really examining your daily schedule. Is there any pockets of time? And I know that that's such a precious commodity, time, instructional minutes. What we do at our school is we start with a soft start. So as soon as students enter the classroom, it's not take out your book, turn to page 15. They begin with collaborative exercises where they are socializing with their peers and they're doing something low stakes. And some of our students, they're coming in, as we know very well, with a heightened stress response. And if we just hit them right away with an academic challenge that just might be out of reach at the moment, that could escalate things. So we're really intentional about getting in front of these behaviors. And that, again, goes back into what that daily schedule looks like and being intentional with those minutes. Another thing we do is after big transitions, we encourage our teachers to give our students a sensory rest. So let's say they just came back from the cafeteria, they're entering the classroom again. We don't launch right into instruction. We dim the lights, soft music is playing, and everyone is doodling, head down. And this is just a 2-minute reset, not only for the students, but also the teacher. Again, going back to that adult and really supporting them throughout the school day.
I love that so much. Okay, so as I'm thinking through these things, one of the things that I love to talk about in my own stuff and I love to really utilize in my own life is learning from our mistakes. Now, obviously, in this work, you're dealing with humans, you're dealing with kids with a variety of emotions, you're dealing with adults with a variety of emotions. We are going to make mistakes along the way with our ideas, our beliefs, what things we try to implement. What's a mistake that you've made over the years in really trying to improve behavior or discipline that you were like, I tried this and, it may have worked for this person or it may have been a great idea, but it just did not work for me.
On a daily basis, okay? This is happening on a daily basis. And I think that's okay. I think we have to allow ourselves to make mistakes. And we have to have the understanding that what works for one student isn't going to work for all. And, I like to think that I lead discipline with two parts, compassion and credibility. And the compassion piece is really taking a genuine interest in understanding our students' backgrounds, challenges, needs, and attuning to that. And the credibility side of that is, yes, I want to be a compassionate, empathetic adult for you, but I also understand how important it is to have clear, consistent, firm boundaries around behavior. And when you overstep, there's going to be accountability, but what that looks, sounds, and feels like matters a whole lot. And that's a big shift that I want to do more of, is making sure that when we are supporting our students with accountability, consequences, that the end goal is to make everyone in that experience better, restorative. And it's shifting from doing things to students to doing things with students and preserving everybody's dignity along the way. I think that's really important. So yes, there are a lot of mistakes. What works for one doesn't work for all. And it's always about pivoting and trying new things and really just learning each other throughout the course of the school year.
Well, there was some really good nuggets in there that I hope people heard. And one of them that really resonated with me is my own journey with discipline and working with students. Because I really feel like that was always a really big strength of mine. But why I can still, hearing you talk, I'm like, that was such an eye opener for me coming in as a baby teacher, being like, no, this is the expectation. Everybody gets the same consequence, everybody has the same stuff, and realizing people are different. Like consequences may need to be a little bit different. And changing it from a I'm punishing you because you knew better and looking at it from perspective of how do we grow from this poor decision? It's not that like a slap on the hand, that's what everybody gets. You get a slap on the hand, we move on. That doesn't lead to growth. And that may look different for each kid, but because you care about that person, you're willing to put the work in. So I love that you shared that. I think that's such a powerful statement that I still feel is so prevalent with so many of us because until we've had that realization and we've seen it change with others, I don't think we truly understand how cool that is.
And not to mention, kids deserve it. You're welcome for that.
There we go. Well, so as we wrap this conversation up, I always love to kind of end with a one more thing. So if you have somebody listening today and you're thinking, you know what? If they only hear me say one thing, I just really hope they walk away with this. What is your one thing for our listeners today?
Wow, you matter. And the work you do, moment after moment, matters. And just never lose sight that kids that are walking into that school building, perhaps into your classroom, they are experiencing something way beyond just the curriculum and the lesson plan for that day. For some of our vulnerable students, they're experiencing safety for the first time since they left your classroom. For the first time, they're feeling seen, heard, valued, understood when they step onto that campus. And when you think about how important the work that we have the privilege to do on a day-to-day basis, I love reminding myself of that and reminding educators of the incredible things that they do with our students. And from my heart to your heart, thank you for being an educator, especially during this season of our profession. But I'm hopeful that together we can get through it.
I love it. Well, if people are listening and they're like, I need more from him, like I need to learn something from him, I need to talk to him about some things, how can they connect with you?
Thank you, Todd. So on Instagram, TikTok, it's at Brain Engager. You could also email me at brainengagerpd@gmail.com. I love connecting with educators, supporting schools and districts with behavior, with de-escalation, even student engagement. So it was a real honor to be on the podcast and great talking to you, Todd.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. Thank you everybody for listening or watching another episode of our TEPSA Talk Podcast. You can check out all the past episodes on your favorite place that you love to listen to, but we'll check you next week with another brand new guest.